This is not your average easy care plant list. We're not gonna be chucking in snake plants, spider plants. No, this is a list of low maintenance, easy care plants that are just a little bit different out there, more uncommon, a bit more unusual, and still give your home that jungle vibe that we're all after without all the effort. Before I get into that though, I want to say if you're new here and you don't know me already, hi, my name is Emma and I make houseplanty content all over the internet. So if you want to follow along with my houseplanty journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos and subscribe to my channel. If you are not new here, welcome back. I really appreciate you returning. Now let's get into this list of fun and funky easy plants. This one personally surprised me with how easy it is. It is the syngonium chiapense. I've had lots of syngonium in my time and I have not found them to be particularly easy compared to a lot of other houseplants, but the chiapense is so unlike all of the other syngoniums. It's got much thicker leaves, so I don't find it as drought sensitive as a lot of the other syngoniums are, and its stems are super duper thick in there as well. You can get variegated ones of this as well. This was a whole moon leaf that decided it wanted to give me a little bit of gyp, so I cut off the brown bit, but you can get more sectoral variegation instead of like full moon leaves, and those are a lot more stable than the full moon ones. That is something I would really want to add to this one because mine is obviously a mix of the normal green one and a full moon variegated, but I have found this one to be incredibly easy. I would recommend putting this one on some sort of support, whether it be a like trellis or a stake or a moss pole like I have mine on, just because this one likes having that in order to maintain this like sort of big leaf size. Like if you just looked at this from afar, I wouldn't think this is a syngonium. To me, it looks way more like a philodendron or something like that, and I kind of like that better. Honestly, my patrons encouraged me to get this one because I was like, I had given up on syngoniums because I'd found them so difficult and high maintenance, but my patrons convinced me that this one was a low maintenance option, and they were 100% right. I am so glad I trusted them and added the chiapense to my collection. Yes, it is a pothos, but it is cooler than your average pothos. It is the snow queen. Essentially, it's a really highly variegated marble queen, but I feel like you can't just find a marble queen with this level of variegation in your average plant shop. But I just treat this one as any old regular devil's ivy, and it still gives me these like really bright leaves. I really like having this one in my home. Like the variegation and the lots of really small leaves adds a really nice texture compared to like a dark green sort of bigger leafed plant. Like next to that bird of paradise in the corner, it would look stunning. Going the complete opposite direction with something really dark and moody, I have my begonia Arabian sunset. This thing, one, grows like mad without anything extra. I should say I do have this one in semi-hydro because begonias in general I find to be a little bit on the thirstier side, but if you are prone to overwatering your plants or watering too frequently, something like this begonia Arabian sunset would be perfectly happy living in your home in soil. These dark leaves, pretty much entirely black, and the red backs to them are so fun. It adds a little bit of goth garden vibes, and I have mine staked on a trellis. That's probably the highest maintenance thing it needs, is a little bit of support here and there, but other than that, it is just low maintenance, easy care. I can kind of put this one in literally any corner in my home and it will still grow to be this big beautiful thing without any extra help. I absolutely love this one for that. This one here is the pellionia pulchra, and it is a plant that I've had since very, very, very early on in my journey, before I would say I was like really good at houseplants. And it is the biggest trooper. It can handle pretty much all neglect that I throw it. I have let this one dry out to no end. I have put this one in a dark corner and it still gives me new growth on the regular. Like right now it's sitting on top of my IKEA cabinet in a sort of dark corner. I'd say it's getting low indirect natural light, and it is still just chugging along, growing really, really well. Also, I should say this one's so easy to propagate. I got this one as maybe 1 or 2 maximum cuttings, and now it has branched out into so many different pieces, and I'm pretty sure those have all come from the same 1 or 2 original pieces. I haven't gone in and chopped and propped this one to fill it out. It has done that on its own, and I really respect it for it. Living actually right behind the pellionia, so again in a sort of dark corner, is my variegated peace lily. If you can take care of a normal peace lily, you can absolutely take care of a variegated one. This one is the diamond variegated, and it kind of has, I'd call it like Thai constellation style variegation, sort of minimal and really, really speckly in there, which I personally really like. I think it adds quite a lot of character to your average peace lily, which, I mean, no offense if you like them, but I do kind of find them a little bit boring. I'm personally not into peace lilies for the flowers though, so if you are, fantastic. This one flowers as well, but I like that even if this one doesn't have flowers on it, it still has that little bit of extra character with the variegation on the leaves. And the good thing about peace lilies in general is that they will tell you if they get too thirsty. They will fully wilt down, and you see time lapses of them raising back up all the time. I knew I was planning to neglect this one a little bit. I am a chronic underwaterer, and so for plants that are thirstier like this, I tend to put them in semi-hydro. This one's in a self-watering pot as well that has a water reservoir, and so I'd say probably twice in the entire time that I've had this plant has it ever wilted all the way down. And I'm gonna be honest, I am not good at refilling this water reservoir, so it's actually way harder than I expected it to be. Going into a couple highlight lovers, first off we have the Euphorbia White Ghost, and I'm gonna be honest, I was a little bit worried when I first got my Euphorbia. I have not been the best at cacti and succulents in the past. Fun fact, this is a succulent rather than a cacti, even though it has the fun spikes. The more you know. But I have found that this one is so simple to take care of. I genuinely just popped it in front of a grow light, even because I don't really have the right space in front of a really sunny window, and it just boomed in growth. It is constantly putting out new branches, and since this one is a succulent, it is so tolerant to underwatering as well. I think I probably water my euphorbias about once a month, maybe every 3 weeks or so, depending on the time of year, and that seems to be perfectly fine with them. But I specifically like the White Ghost Euphorbia because of the coloration on it. You can see I have a very bright white section, but also darker sections as well where the green is more mixed in with it. I think it makes for a really beautiful plant. The other sun lover that I have is my ficus shiveriana moonshine, and holy cow, this thing just laps up light. Like I said, I don't have loads of space in really bright windows, so again, this one is just underneath a grow light. Actually, right now the same grow light that the Euphorbia is underneath. It just loves it. You can see how tightly this one is growing new leaves, and I really love that this one is becoming slightly more common and more easily found in sort of big box stores, and for not as much as they used to be. These used to be a pretty penny. I got my original one for like 90 pounds, which is outrageous now that you can get them for like 10, 15. So I only mildly regret getting this one when I did and not waiting for them to become more available. But this one has such cool variegation on its leaves. It is a little bit more of a lime green color, and the new leaves come in a sort of pinky orange, which is really fun. But I have 3 different plants in this pot, and it is a happy camper. You can see as well, mine is in semi-hydro here, and for me that's purely a convenience thing. This one doesn't need water as frequently as like an alocasia or my begonias do, but it's just easy to have something in a self-watering pot with a reservoir, because then it can just suck up as much water as it wants. This one's probably the most expensive plant on this list. It is the variegated Thanksgiving cactus. You've probably seen holiday cactus pop up in grocery stores around the Christmas period, often labeled as Christmas cactus, even though this one in particular is a Thanksgiving cactus. But I find the variegated one here just as easy to take care of. I don't think it requires anything anything extra really. It did take me a minute to grow this one out because I grew it out from cuttings, and so it took a little while for it to get to this point even, but it just grows the coolest variegation in there. Mine is a little bit sun stressed right now because I do keep this one in the Millsbo cabinet very close to a grow light, but it totally does not need that. You can tell by the amount of sun stress. It is in a very high light situation for itself right now, and so I could probably pull this out and put it pretty much anywhere in my home, even pulled back quite far from a window, and it should be fine. It'll just lose the pinkiness around the edge, which isn't a deal breaker for me. I actually feel like I might prefer it without the pink because I feel like it kind of competes with the variegation a little bit. For now, it's just gonna stay in my cabinet until I do a bit more of a rearrange and I find a new spot for it. But I also can't believe with this one that segments have been coming out full white ghostly and have had literally zero issues continuing to put out new growth. They're still producing little blades in here and they just keep going as full white variegated parts and haven't been struggling with that at all. I haven't really noticed it being that much slower or slower in general really than any other holiday cactus that I have had in the past. Another jungle cactus, but this one is absolutely huge in comparison, is my fern leaf. Holy cow. Do you see how big this one has gotten? It is so big and jungly, and I do not touch this one ever. In fact, I'm pretty sure this one is dusty at the minute because I haven't dusted it in ages, and it is still going in and putting out new growth all over the place. I feel like this one in particular gives such jungle vibes. It is a jungle cactus or an epiphytic cactus, meaning that they can tolerate higher humidity than a sort of desert cactus would. They like to grow on trees in the jungle, and so a nice chunky barky soil is good for them, and they tend to be fairly drought tolerant as well. I have this one actually in a pot that's probably way too small for it. It's proportional to the size of the plant. This pot is tiny and it has not complained for me once. It is just an absolute trooper and I love the way this hangs down. I think it would look so good mounted on a wall like this. It's amazing. And then last but certainly not least, we have a Hoya, and I will say I think a lot of Hoyas would fit nicely on this list. You can find some really uncommon ones that aren't really more difficult than your average Carnosa Crimson Princess or whatever. But today for this video, I've decided on the Hoya obovata, which, I mean, how can you not love these really freaking big, sort of not quite, they're not dinner plate size leaves, obviously, but they are really nice saucer sized leaves, and I really like the silver splashiness. I have it in the perfect pot as well, a little terrazzo pot, but this one is so freaking easy. I think this one is a little bit more succulent-y than a lot of other Hoyas because it's thick leaves and stems. It can hold quite a lot of moisture in the plant itself, so I don't need to water it all that often. I have let this one dry out probably far too often, and it has never once given me any jip for it, and it actually even flowered earlier this year. It was such a lovely surprise coming home from my holiday to flowers on this one because I didn't even know it was growing peduncles, but ever since it did that one, I've started to notice them a little bit more throughout the plant, so I'm hoping that that means I'll be getting more flowers on this one before the end of the growing season. So there we go. Those are some fun, a little bit unusual, uncommon houseplants that I find so easy care that I literally never have to worry about them in my collection, which is peak. Before I go, I want to say a huge thank you to Emma for joining my Garden Guardians level of my Patreon, my highest tier. Thank you so much for joining in. I really hope you love it over there. I also want to thank Rachel for moving up your tier to the Garden Guardians. I love it. Thank you so much. Rachel also has a YouTube channel about houseplants on here, which I highly recommend you go check out. It's called Mixin' Plants and Crafts. I will link it down below in the description, so go check her out as well and give her some love. If anyone else is interested in joining my Patreon, the lowest tier is £3 a month. The highest one that these two have just joined is £10 a month, and for that you get literally everything on my entire Patreon, from bonus content and live chats, which you get at the lowest tier, as well as monthly photo dumps, and for my highest tier, a top tier space on my thank you card at the end of my videos. Literally no pressure to ever join my Patreon, especially even on my highest tier, but I do hugely appreciate it because it makes making videos like this easier for me to do. So if you are interested, the link for that is also down below in the description. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on your easiest houseplant in your collection, whether it be a common one or an unusual one. Let me know what it is because I would love to hear. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more. I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to keep growing. Bye!